All right, buddy, we got to fake this one, okay? All right, this is the deal. This is the deal. Ready? Ready? We're going to do it like this. Hey! It's Try Before You Die at the bitter end. It's Friday night, and this is episode...
It will be Saturday.
Saturday night. We're making mistakes all over the place, and you're about to find out about a big one. It's episode 15, which is 30 weeks of this behavior.
30 weeks of his behavior.
Yeah.
And this is episode 15.
This is episode 15.
Is it episode 15 plus 1?
This is, so here's the deal. So we could go through some motions, everybody. We're super excited. Flash, I haven't noted where the bottles are, but you're in luck because you're about to find out why.
Put it this way, this time around, I think we're going to know where the bottle is.
Yeah, you're not going to hear me counting it. But it's super exciting to be releasing our 15th episode, our 30th week. Every 2 weeks we do this, plus the bonus episodes. And we might as well just own it.
We're going to own it. Basically, we had our first technical difficulty of the season.
Of the serious nature.
Of a serious, it was a electronics malfunction. And I get to enjoy the same drink I just had about 10 minutes ago.
So we went through all the motions from everything, front to end. We ended it. We had our cheers. We closed up shop. I was uploading the video, and the video was not on the device.
Nothing.
Just SOL, as they say.
So I'm going to sort of preempt you guys. It was a really good shot and a very good whiskey.
It was good.
So I have no problems redoing this.
Yeah.
None. Zero.
So we're going to pretend, look, random. Oh my gosh, it's bottle 53.
I wonder what it could be.
And we really aren't fooling or anything. It was bottle 53, which is right here. We even talked about why this bottle was missing. I just was thirsty.
There was a big shout out to you.
Yeah, we really were just owning a bunch. And we wound up with this bottle, which, as you can see, has been opened. But we promise you, here's the lid. Here's the pull foil.
Yeah.
We just opened this 15 minutes ago.
Literally, just got, look, watch this. Oh. Oh, wow.
From Europe, 43 pounds.
Yeah, quick revise. It came from Europe. We talked about the exchange rate, ended up being about $70.
Yeah.
Colin said that he doesn't like to talk about the money. We really didn't want to, but the label's actually got the number right
the
there.
Tag's still on.
And then we went on about...
So we decided that, a colleague of mine from work was traveling to visit family in Europe and brought this back. It's an Auchentoshan. This is a 97, 16 years old in a bourbon cask. It's a signatory release, and we talked a little bit about, and we've done this before, about the private companies coming in, tasting a barrel in a distillery's warehouse and identifying that as quality and buying it. And so Signatory did this in the Auchentoshan warehouses, and they bottled this in 2014. They yielded 639 bottles. Out of bourbon barrels.
And it was a good choice.
Oh, and here's new information that we did not have in the
missing. There is.
This is actually a combination of two casks.
Oh, really?
Yep, cask 101 827,000 and cask 101 828. So these are sister casks sitting next to each other for 16 years. Because I did think 639 was a pretty solid yield for 16 years once you factor in the angel share.
Actually, now that we in this episode 1+1,
yeah.
That's actually rather interesting, because if that's the case, is this something that we would see on a random basis, that they would take two casks and combine them, or?
Well, what we know for sure is these casks were sitting right next to each other, 827 and 828. They everything else is the same, so it's from the same distillation date, bottled on the same date, aged in the same cask. So it all meets all the criteria as a single malt. Because anytime you have a distillery release of a single malt, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of barrels, right? So that they can release all the thousands of bottles globally. So when we start to see those higher number yield bottles, that's what threw me off in that first taping. I don't know if you picked up on that at all or not, but I was just like, man, that's a big yield for 16 years, especially when we count in the angel share, which real quick is just evaporation, right? So the longer a barrel sits, right, the barrels will yield less and less due to evaporation, and that's just called the angel share. So this is 2 barrels, all identical, that they really felt confident in the flavor profiles, and they bought them both and bottled them.
So
Signatory.
So let's just just so people will understand. So you're talking about they took 2 barrels.
Yep.
And did they take from both barrels to fill this, or is this from one barrel and it just happened to be that we're using both barrels to fill these bottles, and they said, hey, look, this is what this is going to be? Or is it really a combination of these 2 barrels?
I'm confident they took both those barrels and vatted them into one bottling tank.
Yep.
And bottled.
All right. That's interesting.
Yeah. So they probably actually were sitting with the distiller in the warehouse, drawing from the bung samples in their glasses, doing a little mixing and seeing and really enjoying the way these 2 barrels, sister barrels, they must have been sitting at a nice place in the warehouse, and whether it was getting a nice breeze or it was in a nice dark corner, I can't say, but they really seemed to be, and as you and I already know, they made a good decision.
They did make, that was actually, it's a wonderful decision actually.
So, so the Auchentoshan 16, it's 46%, so it has been, it's not a cask strength, it's designed to have a certain alcohol content. One of the things we were surprised about is the coloration.
Yeah, very, very light, like extremely light. If you could see, at some stage we're gonna have to like work on.
Yeah, we got to work on some of the technical
But
stuff.
if you could see this, based on the fact that it was from a bourbon barrel, it's 16 years, right?
16 years in a bourbon barrel.
You would think that this would be a lot darker, slightly browner maybe, but this thing has got like absolutely the lightest of golden hints.
It is almost a straw or a hay colored. I mean, it is very light.
But
as if it was a much younger whiskey.
Correct.
When I saw that bottle come up, I felt that we were probably looking at an 11-year-old or something.
maybe. I mean,
And I felt that way only in the sense because it is a private label that they're less likely to buy an 8-year-old. There are some out there that are younger, but in general you'll see it a little bit older. So I thought for sure probably on the young end of the range for private labeling. But to be 16.
16. I mean, and I will tell you, if this was an 8-year-old, holy moly, was this freaking good 8-year-old.
Yeah.
But the fact it's a 16, when we go through and we taste it again, the sheer fact of what you get from this bottle is absolutely amazing.
It is
absolutely amazing.
Yeah, for sure. And again, please, everybody should know that we're not here to pull your legs. We opened this bottle today.
Like 15 minutes ago.
15 minutes ago. And we really enjoy you getting to see us do that. And we could have just saved this for a bonus episode.
Correct.
Because we put open bottles up. But I think we were so pleased with what this bottle was.
Yeah, this was...
that it deserved a regular release episode.
This would have been a shame if we hadn't gone back into it. And
Yeah.
I will tell you, it would have been a shame for me not to go back in so quickly.
Yeah.
So, and stuff happens, and it is what it
does.
is, and we try to be as honest as we possibly can be.
Yep.
I will know this time around, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to take this a different way than I did the last time.
Yeah,
but
you can talk about
I
that
will talk
decision.
about it.
Yeah.
But I will talk about it.
You can talk about
So
that
go ahead
decision.
and let's do this.
Have some.
Let's
And
enjoy this one more time.
So when we had the first cork pull, it was pretty subtle, pretty subdued. So let's see.
Same as it was before.
And again, very subtle and subdued, as is the nose on the cork.
Yeah, the nose
right?
itself, it really had, it's very mellow.
Very faint.
It's,
Yeah. And again, that's some of the first signals of how surprising the flavoring is going to be, and was, due to the age of 16 years old in bourbon barrels and really no robust experience.
yeah, I can't say it enough. I was expecting it to be a really, you'd smell it, you would taste that smell, but it really is. It's a great drink.
Okay.
But
Well, let's see how it tastes.
let's see how it tastes.
Yeah. Let's try the nose.
Again, you do pick up some of the sweetness.
Yeah, very faint too. Very faint. Very faint.
Not overpowering.
Nothing punching you in the belly or anything on this whiskey, which again, for 16 in the bourbon is just like, Let's give it a go. Yeah, man, that is good.
So, very, very smooth drink. You taste on your palate in the sense that it takes you on this very mellow journey. You pick up on its taste. This time around, I will say I did pick up a little bit of vanilla on the back.
Right. It's almost sort of like liquid, vanilla sweet, and a little bit of heat.
And then that heat just comes in, and and then it just dissipates. Yeah. Doesn't say, hey, I'm gonna linger around. Yeah.
Doesn't make you think, oh, do I have any water nearby?
Yeah, like I need to do something. I need to chase this. So mellow.
Right.
So mellow.
And so what we know, one of the things I wasn't surprised about is that it's an Auchentoshan, which is a lowland. Oh, and so I had made a mistake when we did the bonus episode on the 73 Auchentoshan.
Which was very good.
Auchentoshan means?
In the corner of the field.
In the corner of the field, right. And so Mal had asked me, it's a lowland, like south of Glasgow. And I said yes. And I was wrong. It's a few clicks north of Glasgow, but still pretty much southern Scotland.
Yeah, we haven't got into the robustness of the peat.
Right. We haven't moved up the west coast, which will bring us into the Isla regions, and the Campbellton, which is a sort of
the islands.
Yeah. And so one of the things that the lowlands generally are known for, unless they're advertising as a peaty finish or some sort of other fancy barrel, is they're really known for smooth whiskeys. And so this doesn't disappoint or deviate. This is a smooth lowland whiskey.
It is very, very smooth.
And classic in the Auchentoshan sense.
Yes. And Auchentoshan, like, there's a couple of bottles that you have. When we did the first time around, I was looking down there and I saw it that we were going. I'm like, oh, no, I don't want to be there. And I was like, oh, he's there. Oh, he's there. And then we backed off one. And I was like, okay, this looks like it could be interesting in the sense that it was a clear bottle. I mean, there really isn't, it doesn't have that graphic or anything like that. And it's, when you pulled it, it's very, 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 very light colored. But back to what you just said, it does have that smoothness.
Right.
Of the Auchentoshan.
It's sort of that Auchentoshan profile.
Yes.
Right, especially when it's not connected to any other fancy casking. And one of the other things we noted was that we were fortunate to pull this in late August.
Yes.
It's a summer day here in northern New England. It's been probably in the 80s. It's warm. And so we didn't pull a peaty campfire whiskey, which has its place in our minds, probably more in the fall and winter.
And actually, I think we've been lucky in the sense that we haven't had anything heavy yet. We've dodged.
Well, we had the Nadura.
Yeah, the Nadura.
But we started in January, so some of those whiskeys had a little more of a place in the early spring.
This run, the last few, since I've been back, we've had a good run of like very easy going, very light,
appropriate
for a time.
And we're not cheating.
And it's been great. So, just to give you guys my ice is melted. The first time round, I tried it with ice.
I chose not to add anything.
And he made the right choice. In the sense, when I added ice the first time round, it certainly brought the alcohol content up. In the sense that I was there. Oh,
it numbed those subtle flavors, which would be easy to do because they are so faint.
It was still mellow, but it was definitely more to it in the sense that now, okay, there's the backside of this. Now I can taste it, and now I've got some heat, and then it dissipates. But neat, you get this just a draw comes right across your tongue. You catch some of the faint hints of vanilla. You get some of the heat, and then you're done. And it's like, oh, I'm going back in again.
That is good.
So, from a standpoint of being a mistake in the friggin' sense of the video, this was not a mistake.
we are lucking out for a second dram. And so we hope that y'all forgive that you didn't get to see the bottle open, but
very good.
It is a quality drink.
Ridiculous.
Again, the coloration for 16 years is not what you would expect or predict. The flavor for 16 years is not what you would expect or predict. No. And I completely understand why Signatory bought these two barrels.
Yes.
and said, these barrels are ready.
I would say these guys are professionals at picking barrels because the two they picked, an outstanding drink.
And I almost wish that they were hiring, and I'd like to give it a go.
So just before we end, I just wanted to say, so at this stage, let's just say the parent distiller, obviously they're there, they must be involved in this process somehow. Is there any way they would say, hey, you know what, we're not going to let these go, we're going to keep these because this is really good? Or is it like, hey, you know what, this is a done deal, these are yours?
Well, so a lot of distilleries, classically, traditionally, they distilled whiskey to be sold to blended companies.
Okay.
So a lot of blended scotches will have, and I'm going to make up numbers, but from 5 to 13 whiskeys in their blend.
Okay.
Right? And so oftentimes they're producing for a sale to a blender. And so a blender's looking for so much of this flavor, so much of that flavor, and then they create a consistent drink. It's only been, and we talked briefly about this, since '63 that single malt really began to be advertised and marketed. And so it is part of their business model to sell whiskey to other companies, generally speaking, for blending, or if somebody wants to come in and pay a premium price for a couple of barrels, I think that generally speaking, they wouldn't say no unless they were low on supply for that particular vintage.
All right.
Right, so you couldn't come in and buy the last cask of a 66 or something. Everything's for sale.
For price,
Right,
obviously.
right. But generally speaking, everything's for sale.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
So, this brings us to the end of this episode again. Last time we went to Hungary. This time we're going to go back.
We're going to go right back to Hungary. And so in Hungary, the toast translates to until the bottom of the glass. And so I'm in on that.
Oh, I'm definitely into that.
Yeah. So, Fennec cake.